Ryan stood nervously at the edge of the wide marble hall, his hands clenched behind his back. He had been to many strange places since leaving Earth, but nothing compared to the palace of Queen Aria on the planet Virelia. Tall crystal towers rose outside the windows, glowing softly under the twin suns. Alien banners of silver and green hung from the ceiling, and hundreds of nobles filled the room, their scaled faces watching him with cold curiosity. Ryan was not a soldier or a diplomat. He was an engineer sent by the Terran Alliance to repair Virelia's failing planetary defense core. The core powered the shields that protected the planet from external attacks. Without it, the entire world would be vulnerable. He had expected a quiet mission, but instead he found himself standing before the alien queen and her court. Queen Aria sat on a throne of white stone at the far end of the hall. Her tall figure was graceful, her golden crown gleaming under the lights. Her skin shimmered faintly like polished silver, and her piercing green eyes seemed to see through Ryan's very thoughts. She was beautiful, but her presence carried a weight that made him straighten his posture. The hall fell silent as one of the nobles stepped forward. "Your Majesty," the noble said, his voice sharp. "This human cannot be trusted. Why bring such a fragile creature here? We have our own engineers." Ryan took a deep breath. He had heard the whispers since his arrival. Many of the aliens considered humans weak, unworthy of standing among them. Still, he could not let that stop him. "With respect," Ryan said clearly, his voice echoing in the hall, "I have studied the readings of your defense core. Your engineers are skilled, but they are overlooking a critical problem. If it is not fixed, the shields will fail completely in less than 2 cycles." The nobles hissed and muttered among themselves. The same noble scoffed, "And how would you know that, human?" Ryan walked forward slowly, pulling a small device from his belt. He tapped a few buttons, and a hologram of the core appeared in the air. "Here," he explained, pointing to a glowing red section. "This area is unstable because of a misalignment in the energy conduits. It is subtle, easy to miss, but if pressure builds here, it will overload and destroy the entire system." The hall grew quiet as the nobles leaned closer to see. Queen Aria's eyes narrowed as she studied the hologram. Finally, she rose from her throne and walked toward Ryan. Her long robes trailed behind her, and every noble bowed as she passed. Ryan felt his heart pound as she stopped in front of him. "You are certain of this?" she asked softly. "Yes, Your Majesty," Ryan said firmly. "If I am wrong, I will accept the blame. But if I am right, Virelia will be defenseless unless we act quickly." For a moment, the queen said nothing. Then she turned to the hall. "Prepare the engineers," she commanded. "The human will lead the repairs." The hall erupted in protests. Many shouted that it was a mistake, that a human could not lead their people. The queen raised one hand and silence fell instantly. Her voice was calm but carried authority. "I have seen many advisors fail to solve this problem. This one has brought proof. I will not ignore his warning." Ryan felt relief wash over him, but also a new pressure. He had gained the queen's trust, but now he had to prove himself. Later, as the hall emptied, Queen Aria spoke to him privately. They stood near a balcony overlooking the glowing city below. The night air was cool, and the twin moons rose slowly in the distance. "You have courage, human," she said, her tone softer than before. "Few would speak so boldly before my council." Ryan gave a small, awkward smile. "On Earth, I was never anyone important. I just like solving problems. I'm not here to gain power or titles. I only want to keep people safe." The queen studied him with an unreadable expression. "Our people see humans as fragile, yet you stand here without fear. Perhaps there is more strength in your kind than they believe." Ryan glanced at her, sensing a hint of loneliness in her voice. "It's not about being strong," he said quietly. "It's about doing what's right even when others doubt you." For a brief moment, a small smile touched Queen Aria's lips, but it vanished quickly. "We shall see," she said, turning back toward the hall. "For now, focus on the defense core. If your predictions are correct, we may face a threat greater than you imagine." Ryan nodded, though her words sent a chill through him. He had come to Virelia to fix a machine, but now he wondered if something much bigger was coming. As he looked out over the city, he felt a strange connection to this world and its queen. In the shadows behind them, a pair of watching eyes narrowed with anger. One of the nobles slipped away silently, already planning to turn the court against the human. Ryan did not notice. All he knew was that the fate of Virelia rested on his shoulders, and the trust of a powerful queen was both a blessing and a heavy burden. The first step of his journey had begun. Ryan worked tirelessly inside the towering defense chamber, a massive hall filled with glowing energy conduits and humming machines. The core stood at the center, a giant crystal structure surrounded by floating rings of light. Alien engineers moved around him, watching carefully but keeping their distance. Even though Queen Arya had ordered them to assist Ryan, many still distrusted him. He could feel their stares on his back, sharp and cold. As he adjusted a control panel, Ryan's handheld scanner began to beep. Strange energy readings flashed across its screen. He frowned and checked again to be sure. These readings were not coming from the defense core itself, but from beyond the planet's orbit. They were strong and scattered, almost like signals from a fleet of ships hiding in deep space. Ryan's stomach tightened. He had seen similar readings before during a border conflict near Earth. It usually meant only one thing. An invasion force was gathering. He turned to one of the alien engineers, a young female named Nira. "These readings," he said urgently, showing her the scanner. "Do you see this pattern? It means a large number of ships are approaching." Nira's eyes widened, but then she shook her head. "That cannot be right. No enemy would dare attack Varelia. Our queen has ruled strongly for many years. Our defenses alone are enough to frighten them away." Ryan looked at the unstable defense core and thought of how easily the shields could fail. "Not if they know your shields are weak," he replied. Nira hesitated, then hurried off to report his words. Ryan knew it would cause an argument, but there was no time to wait. He gathered all the data he could and rushed to the throne room. The council was already in session when he arrived. Queen Arya sat calmly on her throne, surrounded by nobles. Their scaled faces turned toward Ryan as he entered, some glaring openly. Lord Varen, a tall noble with crimson markings on his skin, stepped forward with a sneer. "This human dares to interrupt our meeting again," Varen said coldly. "Why is he even allowed in this hall?" Ryan didn't let himself be intimidated. "Because you need to hear this," he said firmly. He held up his scanner. "I detected energy signatures in deep space. A fleet is coming here. They know your defenses are failing and they are preparing to strike." The hall erupted in angry voices. Nobles shouted over each other, accusing Ryan of lying, of trying to cause fear. Varen raised his hand for silence and spoke with a mocking tone. "How convenient that the human claims to see enemies that none of us can detect. Perhaps this is his plan, to make us panic and then control us." Ryan clenched his fist but stayed calm. "I am not lying. If you ignore this, your people will pay the price. I've seen this before. They will strike hard and fast, and if your shields fail, the city will fall." The queen's green eyes narrowed. She studied Ryan for a long moment, then turned to her council. "Enough," she said. Her voice cut through the chaos, and silence fell. "Whether his words are true or false, we must be prepared. I will order scouts to confirm his findings." Varen bowed stiffly, but his eyes burned with anger. "As you command, my queen," he said, though Ryan could tell he was not pleased. Later, when the council had dispersed, Queen Arya remained in the hall with Ryan. She walked beside him, her expression thoughtful. "You speak with great certainty," she said. "Why do you trust these readings so strongly?" Ryan hesitated, then answered honestly. "Because I've seen the cost of ignoring them. My homeworld was attacked once. We lost many lives because our leaders didn't act soon enough. I won't let that happen here." The queen looked at him quietly, her face softening. "You care for a world that is not your own." "That is unusual." Ryan gave a small shrug. "People are people no matter where they come from. If I can stop what's coming, I have to try." For a moment, the queen's regal mask slipped, and Ryan saw the weight she carried. She was strong and proud, but beneath that strength was deep loneliness. "It is difficult to rule when so many doubt you," she said softly. "Even my closest advisors question my decisions." Ryan met her gaze. "Leadership is never easy, but I believe you want to protect your people, and that's what matters. I'll stand with you, no matter what the others say." The queen's eyes glimmered, and she gave a small, rare smile. "You are unlike anyone I have met, Ryan of Earth." Before he could respond, a soldier rushed into the hall, breathing heavily. He knelt before the queen and shouted, "Your Majesty, the outer colonies have sent distress signals. Unknown ships are attacking their outposts." The queen's calm expression vanished. She turned sharply to Ryan. "It seems your warning was true." Ryan's heart pounded. "Then we have no time to waste. We need to repair the core immediately, or the capital will be next." As the Queen issued urgent orders to her guards, Ryan caught sight of Lord Varen standing in the shadows, his face unreadable. Ryan didn't trust him, but there was no time to confront him now. That night, Ryan worked late in the defense chamber while the city outside prepared for war. Queen Arya visited him briefly, bringing food and water. They spoke quietly as he worked. She asked him about Earth, about the strange idea of family and love that humans valued so much. Ryan explained how humans supported each other, not just through duty but through affection and loyalty. Arya listened intently, her expression thoughtful. "My people do not speak of such things," she admitted. "Our bonds are built on honor and strength, not on emotion. But perhaps there is wisdom in your ways." Ryan smiled faintly, feeling a strange warmth as he looked at her. "Sometimes strength comes from caring about someone more than yourself." The Queen did not answer, but her eyes lingered on him as she left the chamber. As dawn approached, Ryan finally stabilized part of the core, but the readings on his scanner were clear. The enemy fleet was moving closer. War was no longer a shadow on the horizon. It was coming for them, and soon. The morning sky over Viralia was painted red and gold by the twin suns, but there was no peace in the air. Ryan stood on the palace balcony beside Queen Arya, staring at the horizon where the city's tall crystal towers glimmered. The beauty of the view was broken by the sharp sound of alarm bells ringing across the capital. His scanner buzzed in his hand, confirming what he already feared. "They are here," Ryan said, his voice tense. Queen Arya's green eyes narrowed. She turned to the guard captain standing nearby. "Send word to all districts. Prepare the shield generators and call every warrior to arms." The guard saluted and ran off, leaving Ryan and the Queen alone. Ryan's heart pounded. The defense core beneath the palace was only partially repaired. If the enemy attacked the city directly, the shields might not hold. "They will test our strength first," Ryan explained quickly. "They will strike at smaller targets around the capital before focusing on the palace. It's how invaders find weaknesses." Arya nodded, her face calm despite the chaos. "Then we will give them no weakness to exploit." Before Ryan could answer, a massive explosion echoed in the distance. Black smoke rose from one of the outer districts. Moments later, alien messengers rushed into the hall, shouting reports of enemy ships attacking civilian areas. The Grand Council chamber was soon filled with shouting nobles. Many blamed each other, while others accused Ryan again of bringing doom upon them. Lord Varen stepped forward with a glare. "This human's presence has angered the stars," he declared. "It is no coincidence that the enemy comes now. Remove him and perhaps they will leave." Ryan clenched his fists. "I didn't bring this war here. I'm trying to save your planet." The nobles shouted louder until Queen Arya raised her hand. The hall fell silent. "Enough," she said firmly. "Blaming each other will not stop our enemies. We must act." Ryan stepped forward, holding up his scanner. "If you keep arguing, you will lose more lives. The shields are weak. I need a full team to finish the repairs now, or this city will fall within hours." Some nobles muttered in doubt, but Arya's voice cut through their hesitation. "You heard him. Obey my command." Despite her words, Ryan could feel their resentment. As he and a group of engineers ran to the defense chamber, he heard whispers of distrust behind him. The defense chamber was a storm of activity. The massive crystal core glowed unevenly, sparks leaping from its outer rings. Ryan barked orders, directing the alien engineers as they worked. Sweat ran down his face as he reconnected key conduits and rerouted power flows. "Pressure levels are rising too fast," Nira shouted over the noise. Ryan checked the readings and cursed under his breath. "If this keeps up, the core will overload. We need to stabilize it before it explodes." The ground shook violently as another explosion rocked the city. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Ryan pushed harder, his hands moving fast across the control panels. Suddenly, a warning siren blared. A section of the palace's outer shield flickered and failed. Enemy fighters swooped in, firing energy blasts at the city below. Through a nearby window, Ryan saw alien citizens fleeing in terror. He turned to Nira. "Divert power from the inner ring to the failing sector. It will hold them off for a few minutes." Nira hesitated. "But that will leave the core unstable." "It's either that or the city burns," Ryan said sharply. She obeyed, and the failing shield glowed back to life just as enemy fire struck it. As chaos raged outside, Queen Arya arrived in the chamber with several guards. She looked around, her calm face hiding her worry. "Report," she demanded. Ryan wiped sweat from his forehead. "The shields are holding for now, but they won't last. The core is damaged worse than I thought. I can fix it, but I need more time. You will have it, Arya said. She turned to her guards. Defend this chamber with your lives. If the enemy reaches it, Viralia is lost. The guards saluted and took positions. Moments later, enemy fighters broke through the outer defenses, landing troops in the streets near the palace. The sound of battle filled the air as Arya's soldiers clashed with the invaders. Ryan worked faster, his mind racing. He had been trained to solve complex problems, but this was unlike anything he had faced. The slightest mistake could destroy the core and everyone in the palace. A deafening crash shook the chamber as enemy soldiers breached the outer doors. Arya drew a slender silver blade, her movements swift and precise. She fought beside her guards, cutting down attackers with fierce skill. Ryan barely glanced up, focusing on the final sequence. Almost there, he muttered. Just a few more seconds. Suddenly, one of the enemy soldiers broke through the defense line and charged at Ryan. Nira screamed. But before the soldier could strike, Queen Arya leapt forward and struck him down. Ryan stared at her in shock. You saved me. Arya's voice was steady even as she fought. If you fall, so does Viralia. Finish the task. Ryan forced himself to focus. With a final command, the core's unstable rings locked into place. The entire chamber lit up as the shields across the city surged to full strength. Outside, enemy fire bounced harmlessly off the renewed barrier. Cheers erupted among the defenders. Even the skeptical engineers stared at Ryan with awe. Queen Arya lowered her blade and looked at him with deep respect. You have given my people hope, she said. Ryan shook his head. This is only the first attack. They will come back stronger. We need to prepare for the next strike. As the enemy ships retreated into space, the city mourned its losses and tended to the wounded. Ryan stood beside the queen on the palace balcony once more. The night sky glittered with stars, but he felt no peace. Arya placed a hand on the railing, her voice quiet. You risked everything for my people today. Many doubted you, but you proved them wrong. Ryan met her gaze. I couldn't let them fall. I gave my word to protect this city. For a brief moment, their eyes held, and an unspoken bond formed between them. Far below, hidden in the shadows, Lord Varen watched with anger burning in his eyes. Ryan's heroism had won the Queen's trust, but Varen was already planning how to turn that trust into suspicion. The first battle had been won, but the war for Virelia's future had only begun. The city of Viralia was quiet the next morning, but it was not the peaceful kind of quiet. It was the tense silence that came after a storm. Streets were filled with rubble, smoke drifted from ruined buildings, and the wounded were being carried to healing stations. The people had survived the first attack, but fear lingered in every corner. Inside the palace, Ryan stood in the defense chamber, checking the readings of the newly stabilized core. The shield was fully functional now, but he knew it was only a temporary victory. The enemy would return, and next time they would strike harder. Queen Arya entered the chamber, her silver robes flowing behind her. She looked tired, though her posture remained strong. The reports from the outer colonies are grim, she said. Entire villages were destroyed. Our people are demanding answers, Ryan nodded. I understand their anger, but if we stay united, we can prepare for the next attack. The shields are ready now, but we need to plan a defense. Before Arya could reply, the heavy doors to the chamber burst open. Lord Varen strode in, flanked by several nobles. His crimson-marked face was twisted with fury. This must end, my queen, Varen said loudly. The human is a danger to us all. Last night's attack was proof. Ryan stepped forward. That attack was proof of what I warned you about. The enemy came because they knew your defenses were weak. Varen's eyes glared at him. Or perhaps they came because you told them where to strike. How else could they know our shield was failing? How else could they attack so precisely? The nobles gasped, and whispers filled the chamber. Ryan's jaw tightened. You think I am a spy? I risked my life to save this city. Varen raised a small device and pressed a button. A holographic image appeared above it, showing blurry footage of Ryan in the defense chamber late at night speaking into his communicator. This was captured by our surveillance crystals, Varen declared. The human sent secret messages before the attack. He claims to protect us, yet he may be guiding our enemies. Ryan's eyes widened. That's not true. I was sending a progress report to my superiors on Earth. I never shared your weaknesses with anyone. The hall erupted with angry shouts. Some nobles demanded Ryan's arrest, while others urged caution. Queen Arya raised her hand for silence, but her face was troubled. Ryan, can you prove this claim false? Ryan's mind raced. I cannot show you the exact message because it was encrypted by the Terran Alliance, but I swear on my life that I sent no harmful information. Someone is twisting the truth. Varen's voice was cold. Words are meaningless without proof. I demand that the human be placed under guard until we learn the truth. Ryan's heart pounded. He looked at Arya, silently pleading for her to believe him. For a moment, the queen seemed uncertain. The entire chamber held its breath. Finally, Arya spoke. Ryan will remain free. I will not condemn a man who saved my people without solid evidence. Varen's face darkened, but he bowed stiffly. As you command, my queen. The council ended in bitter silence. As the nobles filed out, Ryan approached Arya. Thank you for trusting me, he said quietly. Arya's voice was soft, but firm. I do trust you, Ryan, but you must understand how dangerous this is. Many in the council already doubt you. Varen's influence grows stronger each day. Ryan clenched his fists. He is the one we should be watching, not me. He is too eager to see me gone. It feels like he's hiding something. Arya nodded slowly. I have suspected as much, but without proof I cannot act against him. That night, Ryan decided to find that proof himself. He slipped through the dark halls of the palace, using his scanner to track unusual energy signals. The readings led him to a hidden chamber deep below the palace. Inside, he found strange devices emitting faint signals. They matched the same energy patterns he had detected from the invading fleet. His heart sank as he realized the truth. Someone within the palace was sending messages to the enemy. Footsteps echoed behind him. Ryan ducked behind a pillar just as Lord Varen entered the room, speaking into a communicator. The attack failed, but the Queen's faith in the human weakens, Varen said. Continue to prepare for the next strike. Soon Virelia will fall and I will claim the throne. Ryan's blood ran cold. Varen wasn't just betraying the Queen. He was working directly with the enemy. As Ryan stepped back, his foot brushed against a loose stone. It made a sharp crack. Varen spun around, his eyes narrowing. Who's there? He shouted. Ryan turned and ran, racing through the dark tunnels as Varen's guards gave chase. He barely escaped through a hidden passage, emerging breathless into the city streets. When he finally reached the Queen's private chambers, Ryan told her everything. Varen is the traitor, he said urgently. He's been feeding the enemy information to weaken your rule. Arya's face hardened, her calm mask breaking for the first time. I feared he might betray me, but this... She gripped the hilt of her ceremonial blade. If this is true, he threatens not only me but our entire world. Ryan nodded. We need to expose him to the council before it's too late. But he will strike first if he senses danger. Arya took a deep breath. Then we must move carefully. If Varen believes I still doubt you, he will not realize we know the truth. Ryan looked into her eyes. I'll do whatever it takes to protect you and your people. For a moment, Arya's expression softened. You risk more for me than any of my own counselors. I will not forget that. Outside the palace, the enemy fleet gathered strength in the darkness of space, unaware that their secret ally was about to be unmasked. Inside, Ryan and Arya prepared for a dangerous game of deception. One wrong move could destroy them both. The coming days would decide not only the fate of Virelia, but also the fragile bond growing between a human engineer and a queen, who had begun to trust him above all others. The palace was tense as dawn broke over Virelia. Outside, soldiers trained in the courtyards, their armor gleaming in the morning light. The people of the city worked quietly to rebuild, but fear remained heavy in the air. Everyone knew the enemy would return, and this time they would not simply test the defenses. Inside the Queen's war chamber, Queen Arya stood over a large holographic map of the planet. Ryan was beside her, carefully studying the patterns of enemy movements he had recorded with his scanner. Around them, alien nobles and military commanders waited, some curious, others openly suspicious of the human's presence. Ryan pointed to the glowing red dots on the map. These are the last known positions of the enemy fleet. Based on their movements, they will strike here and here. His finger moved across the map, highlighting 2 weak points near the outer defense towers. If they break through these areas, they can surround the capital. One of the commanders shook his head. These predictions come from a human mind. Our enemies will not think like him. We should fortify the palace and let them come to us. Ryan stood firm. If you do that, you'll be trapped. They'll destroy your outer cities and starve you out. The only way to win is to strike first before they expect it, the nobles muttered angrily. Lord Varen, hiding his true betrayal behind a mask of concern, stepped forward. "And you expect us to follow the plan of an outsider?" "This is madness." Ryan met his gaze without fear. "This is survival. If you refuse to act, you will lose everything." The hall filled with voices arguing until Queen Arya raised her hand. Silence fell instantly. She looked around the room, her expression calm but firm. "Ryan has risked his life for our people. He repaired the shield when none of you could. His warning about the invasion proved true. I will hear his plan fully before making a decision." Ryan nodded gratefully and tapped a command on the hologram. A new image appeared, showing alien and human ships working together. "Your technology is powerful but rigid," he explained. "Human ships are smaller and more flexible. If we combine forces, we can set a trap. We'll lure the enemy into this narrow sector between the moons, where their numbers won't matter as much. Then we strike from two sides." The Queen studied the plan carefully. "It is dangerous," she said. Ryan nodded. "Yes, but it's the only way to end this quickly. If they have time to regroup, they'll keep coming back." Varen's voice was sharp. "You would give him command of our forces? You would trust a human over your own generals?" Arya's eyes flashed. "I will trust the one who has proven himself. Ryan's plan will be followed." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Some nobles bowed their heads in acceptance, while others glared in silent fury. Varen's face darkened, but he said nothing more. After the meeting, Ryan and Arya walked together through the palace gardens. The air was filled with the scent of alien flowers, their petals glowing faintly in the twilight. Soldiers marched past them, preparing for battle. Arya's voice was softer now, away from the council's ears. "You have taken a great risk, Ryan. My people are proud and do not easily accept outside leadership. If you fail, they will turn against you." Ryan gave a small, tired smile. "I didn't come here to lead anyone. I came here to fix a machine. But now it's not just about the core or the shields. If we don't stop the enemy, there won't be a future for anyone here." Arya stopped walking and looked at him. For the first time, her regal mask seemed to fade, revealing the woman beneath the crown. "When you first arrived, I saw you as just another outsider. But you have shown me something rare. You fight not for power or glory, but because you care." Ryan felt his chest tighten. "I care about you, Arya, and about your people. I don't want to see this world fall." For a brief moment, silence hung between them. Arya's eyes softened and her voice trembled slightly. "Among my kind, rulers are never free to feel as others do. But when you speak of loyalty and love, I find myself wishing—" She stopped and turned away, hiding her face. Ryan wanted to ask what she meant, but a messenger rushed into the garden, bowing quickly. "My queen, the enemy fleet has been sighted at the edge of our system." Arya's calm returned instantly. "Summon the commanders. The plan begins now." Ryan and Arya returned to the war chamber, where soldiers and pilots awaited their orders. Ryan outlined the final steps of the strategy, assigning squads to their positions. Some alien warriors still looked at him with distrust, but others had begun to respect him after the previous battle. As preparations continued, Ryan inspected the human ships brought from a nearby colony. Their sleek metal hulls contrasted with the crystal-like alien vessels. He spoke with both human and alien pilots, making sure they understood how to work together. That night, as the army readied itself, Ryan stood alone in the palace courtyard, staring up at the twin moons. Arya approached quietly, her footsteps soft on the stone. "Are you ready for what comes tomorrow?" she asked. Ryan exhaled slowly. "Ready or not, we don't have a choice." He turned to face her. "If this works, we'll save your world. If it doesn't—" Arya stepped closer, her voice gentle. "Do not speak of failure. I have faith in you." Her words gave Ryan strength. "Then I won't let you down." As dawn approached, the fleet prepared to launch. Alien soldiers marched in perfect lines while human crews checked their ships. The combined force was unlike anything Virelia had ever seen. From the balcony, Arya addressed her people. "Today we fight not as separate worlds, but as one. Together we will defend our home." Ryan stood beside her, feeling the weight of countless lives on his shoulders. Far away, hidden in the darkness of space, the enemy fleet advanced, unaware of the trap waiting for them. Lord Varen, secretly working with them, watched from the shadows of the palace, a cruel smile on his face. The battle to decide the future of Virelia was about to begin. The twin suns rose slowly over Virelia, casting golden light across the capital city. The fleet stood ready, ships lined up like shining spears pointed at the sky. Alien soldiers marched in unison, while human pilots finished last-minute checks on their vessels. Ryan moved among them, inspecting every detail of the plan. His heart pounded with a mix of fear and determination. Today would decide everything. Inside the grand hall, Queen Arya addressed her generals. Ryan stood at her side, maps and holograms projected before them. The combined human and alien forces were prepared to lure the enemy fleet into the narrow sector between the moons. Once trapped, the joint fleet would strike from both sides, cutting off their retreat. Arya's voice was calm but powerful. "This battle will decide the fate of our world. Stand united and we will prevail." The generals bowed, their voices rising together. "For Varelia." But among them, Lord Varen remained silent, his expression unreadable. Ryan noticed it but said nothing, focusing instead on the coming fight. As the fleet launched, Ryan and Arya boarded the command ship, its crystal walls humming with energy. From the viewport, they could see the two moons glowing like watchful eyes. Alien ships glided gracefully through space, while human vessels darted quickly between them, forming the perfect formation for the trap. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, until Ryan's scanner beeped sharply. His eyes narrowed as he studied the readings. Something's wrong. There's another energy signature nearby, a large one. Before he could warn Arya, the command ship shuddered violently. Sirens blared. A voice came through the comms, panicked and shouting, "We're under attack. Enemy ships have appeared behind us." Ryan's blood ran cold. That's impossible. They were supposed to be at the front lines. Arya's face hardened. "It means someone told them our plan." The truth struck Ryan like a blow. He turned sharply toward Varen, who stood at a nearby console. "It was you, wasn't it?" "You betrayed us," Varen smirked, no longer hiding his treachery. "You humans think you can lead us, but you are nothing. I promised the enemy your position and the Queen's life. When they win, I will rule what remains." Arya's eyes burned with fury. "You have doomed us all, Varen." Before she could act, Varen activated a device on his wrist. A shield of red energy surrounded him, deflecting the guards' attacks. "Capture the human and the Queen alive," he ordered through a communicator. Enemy boarding ships crashed into the command vessel, their soldiers swarming the halls. Chaos erupted as alien warriors loyal to Arya clashed with the invaders. Ryan grabbed Arya's hand and pulled her toward the escape corridor. "We need to reach the lower decks. If they take the bridge, it's over." They ran through the narrow halls as explosions rocked the ship. Behind them, Varen's laughter echoed. "Run, little human. You cannot save her." As they reached a sealed bulkhead, Ryan hacked the panel with his wrist device, opening the door just as enemy soldiers rounded the corner. Arya fired a blast from her crystal weapon, dropping two of them, while Ryan slammed the door shut behind them. Breathing heavily, Arya looked at him. "Our fleet is in disarray. If we do not act quickly, the enemy will destroy us." Ryan's mind raced. "We can still win, but we have to disable Varen's signal beacon." "That's how the enemy knew our plan." Arya nodded. "The beacon is in the control core at the heart of the ship, but it is heavily guarded." Ryan grinned despite the danger. "Then we fight our way there." Together, they pushed forward, battling through enemy soldiers. Ryan's human agility and quick thinking matched Arya's strength and precision. As they fought side by side, Ryan felt their bond grow stronger with every step. When they finally reached the core chamber, Varen was waiting. He stood beside the glowing beacon, surrounded by elite guards. "It ends here," Varen sneered. "Surrender, and I might let the human live as my servant." Arya stepped forward, her voice like steel. "You will never rule this world." The battle that followed was fierce. Ryan darted between the guards, using his smaller size to his advantage, while Arya faced Varen directly. Their weapons clashed, sparks flying as they fought. Ryan reached the beacon and began to disable it, his fingers flying across the controls. "Arya, hold him off a little longer," he shouted. Arya parried Varen's strikes, her determination unshaken. "Do it, Ryan. And this." With a final command, Ryan shut down the beacon. Across the battlefield, enemy ships suddenly faltered, their coordination lost. The trap began to work in reverse, with Arya's fleet regaining control. Varen saw his defeat and roared in anger, lunging at Ryan. But Arya moved faster, striking him with a powerful blow that shattered his shield and sent him crashing to the floor. Breathing hard, she stood over him. "You betrayed your people. Your punishment will be decided by the council." As guards restrained Varen, Ryan contacted the fleet. "The beacon is down. Follow the original plan. Push them into the sector and strike now." From the viewport, they watched as the joint forces surged forward. Alien and human ships moved as one, overwhelming the enemy. Explosions lit up the sky as the invaders were forced into retreat. The battle was far from over, but hope had returned. Arya turned to Ryan, her eyes filled with gratitude and something deeper. "You saved us again. Without you, we would have fallen." Ryan shook his head. "We saved them together." For a moment, they stood in silence, the chaos around them fading. The bond between them was no longer just about duty or survival. It was something far stronger, though neither dared to name it yet. As the enemy fleet fled into the darkness of space, Arya's forces began to regroup. The war was not finished, but a decisive victory had been won. Yet Ryan knew this was only the beginning. Varen's betrayal had shaken the kingdom, and the enemy would return with even greater strength. And in his heart, he feared that his growing feelings for Arya might soon change everything. The grand hall of the Varelian palace was filled with light and music. After the recent battle, the queen had organized a celebration to honor the courage of her people. Soldiers, engineers, and citizens alike gathered to give thanks for their survival. The city outside still bore the scars of the enemy attack, but hope shone brighter than fear. Ryan stood quietly near the back, observing the crowd. Humans were still rare on Varelia, and many of the nobles eyed him with curiosity, some still wary. Yet their whispers carried respect now, and several nodded in acknowledgement of his bravery. The memory of the last battle was fresh, and no one could deny the role he had played in saving their world. Queen Arya appeared at the balcony above the hall, her golden crown glinting in the light. Her silver robes trailed elegantly behind her as she descended the stairs, her eyes scanning the crowd until they found Ryan. For a moment, the hall seemed to fall silent around her. All eyes followed as she approached him. "People of Varelia," she began, her voice calm but firm. "Today we celebrate not only survival but courage. Many of you fought bravely and many sacrificed for your home. But one among us showed extraordinary bravery, intelligence, and heart. Ryan, the human, risked his life to save us all." Ryan felt the weight of hundreds of eyes on him, but he only looked at Arya. "It was nothing," he said quietly, trying to hide his nerves. Arya's green eyes softened. "Nothing. You stabilized the defense corps under fire, saved my life, and helped our people stand against a threat we thought impossible to overcome. You have given us hope." The nobles murmured, impressed, and some even bowed. Ryan straightened, feeling both proud and overwhelmed. Arya continued, stepping closer until she stood directly before him. The crowd fell into a hush, sensing that something more personal was about to happen. Her voice lowered, meant for him alone, though everyone could hear. "Ryan," she said, her gaze steady and unwavering, "you are unlike any I have met. You do not see me as a queen, but as a person. You care for my people and you care for me. She paused, taking a deep breath. "I wish you were my husband." The hall froze. Gasps and whispers spread like wildfire. Humans and aliens alike turned their eyes toward them, stunned by the admission. Ryan's mouth fell open in surprise. Arya waited, her expression calm but vulnerable. "I have ruled this world alone for many cycles. I have trusted few and loved fewer. But you, Ryan, you have shown me loyalty, courage, and kindness that I never expected. I want you by my side. Not as an advisor, not as a hero, but as someone I can trust completely. I wish to share my life with you." Ryan's heart raced. He had always admired her strength and grace, but hearing her words aloud made everything real. He took a deep breath and took her hand in his. "Arya, He paused, searching for words strong enough to express what he felt. "I have never met anyone like you. You inspire me, and I would be honored to stand by your side. If you wish it, I will be your husband." A murmur of astonishment rippled through the hall. Some nobles looked at each other in disbelief while others smiled, seeing the bond that had grown between them through trials and danger. The citizens cheered quietly, recognizing that something extraordinary had just occurred. Arya smiled, the first true relaxed smile Ryan had ever seen. "Then it is settled," she said, her voice carrying confidence. "Let the council and the people know. We will move forward together as a united force, not only in war but in peace." Ryan felt a warmth spread through him. For months he had fought alongside her, faced danger and overcome betrayal, yet none of that compared to this moment, the moment the queen had shared her heart and he had shared his in return. As the crowd slowly resumed their celebration, Arya leaned slightly toward him, There is still much to rebuild, she said softly. But I'm no longer alone in it. Ryan nodded. And you never will be. We will face it together. The celebrations continued, filled with music and laughter. Soldiers spoke proudly of their victory. Engineers discussed plans to repair the city, and children played in the palace gardens, unaware of the dangers that had just passed. But in the midst of the joy, Ryan and Arya stayed close, their hands intertwined. Even in a hall full of people, they found a quiet connection. Through battles, betrayals, and the weight of responsibility, they had grown to trust and care for each other deeply. The enemy fleet might return, and challenges would always appear, but together they were stronger than any threat. For the first time in cycles, Queen Arya felt hope not only for her kingdom but for her heart. And Ryan realized that in this faraway world, he had found not only purpose but something even greater: love, trust, and a bond that could withstand any trial. As the twin suns began to set, casting a golden glow over the palace, Arya and Ryan stood on the balcony, looking at the city they had saved together. The people cheered below, the music swelled, and the stars began to shine in the sky above. The war had tested them, the betrayal had challenged them, but in the end, they had discovered something far stronger: unity, hope, and the courage to love across worlds. And in that moment, Virelia was not only safe but ready for a future filled with new possibilities, led by a queen who had found her partner and a human who had earned a place among the stars.